That's, which is really nice. Okay, that you see the beautiful view. Okay, this is from the 6th floor.
Wow.
Sorry, the 7th. Yeah. So.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right. So good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend, and maybe let's start showing some wins.
Wins.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't have any. No, I don't know. I'm
or you don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start. I did write something down actually. So
Right.
I tell you what, I'm making my way through. You've disappeared. Doesn't matter. I don't know if you can still see me though. I'm making my way through that. That's interesting. Did I share with you the end result?
About what?
The end result of this unique. Did I send you a version of that?
I'm not sure. I don't recall.
Okay, look. I'll send you a copy of that and see what you think. Right? It's not the end result. It's almost the end result.
So is that a training you've done with coach or?
It's no. Well, yeah, sort of. These two documents, right? You can get from coach.
Right.
Now,
right. Okay.
When I went onto the portal and looked for them, I couldn't find them. And the only place I found them was on Google. And they cost like $40 or $45. There we go. That's the two books together, right? And so I sent Rebecca an email saying, "Hey, how you doing? Da di da di da da di da di da. Do you know where I can get hold of da di da di da?" And literally a week later, they turned up in the post, free of charge. So it just goes to show, if you're nice to people, then they're nice to you, sort of thing. So
coach are nice people.
Yeah, no, that's true. They are nice people. But anyway, I'm trying to remember. There was a specific thing that I wrote down, and I want to find it quickly, but I can't really remember where it is. But I guess this week I recognised this isn't a win, but no, I can't remember what they are, so I'm not gonna waffle. There you go.
Wow. Okay. So that's the win. I mean, you like to share for now?
I don't really have one. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, but I think the Unique Ability 2.0, you're close to the getting that done. Is that right? Is that one of them? Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I'm close to getting it done.
Okay. Just curious, any learning from that? I mean, like any discovery or any insight?
It was interesting. I mean, okay, so I would guess I'm probably about halfway through. I've kind of they break it down into two stages. The first part, finding out what it is. So I think during certainly one of mine, so I'm assuming one of your early sessions, you would have done a unique abilities kind of first draft, right, where you list all the things that you do on a day, and then you put a unique and an excellent, competent or incompetent rating behind it, right? So that's one of the ways in which you start. The other one, which is harder, you go into a bit more depth, and when you blend the two together, so I've done the harder one first because the book suggests that that's a good way of doing it. The second one is to do what we did in the training. So I've just completed that, and now it's a case of right now you're going to start blending them together. The result that I've got, I mean, I'm still partway through, but what's been interesting actually is where I thought I had kind of crafted a statement, the people I've given that to have both responded with, this bit makes sense, this bit doesn't. Now that's an insight in its own right. Are you saying this, this, and this, and this, and this? Are you saying? And I thought, wow, that's really interesting, because they both picked up on the lack of clarity in the statement, and they both gave examples what they thought that meant. So that's really interesting. So yeah, I mean, I'll send it over to you because I value the feedback. So I do remember something though, and that's about a piece of work I've done for us. So I'm going to show that when we get on to work related stuff, but it's kind of interesting actually. And that to me is that's I suppose that's the weird, just doing it and the background thinking that was stimulated from it. So anyway.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks for sharing. So okay, so I'll share mine. Okay, over the weekend. So I think there is a couple, at least for me personally. Well, one is more JCF related, the other is personal. So the JCF related one is that I had Alex, the guy who I'm discussing with about the quote unquote open wealth concept. And, he got accepted to the JPerU program as well as myself. I don't know if I share with that. So JPerU will start this week. So that's part of the Ascender Accelerator idea, where we're leveraging existing accelerator resource plus some, custom coaching, Ben Hardy, Dan Sullivan style, alongside with that. So that is in motion. Okay, I guess the exciting thing is this Ascender Accelerator idea. Actually, it's piloting. It's in a pilot phase. However, it is progressing. Like every stage. And right now we're in a 2-week JPerU program. It will be followed by a 2-month YC Startup School program. Okay, where we're utilizing the free YC Startup School materials, but with some, accompanying coaching, and hopefully get a batch of people to go into that. Okay, so not just us, but right now there's already 2, Alex and I. I represent JCF. Okay, so that's exciting. Okay, so I mean, it's going to, from what I understand, they will actually break into teams and you will sort of do something together. Right? But, it could be JCF or open wealth related, or it may not be. But I think the general idea is to really get some, startup entrepreneur mindset training in terms of the fundamentals. So also to, I guess, connect with the Draper, social network, the network. So, well, I guess that's a win, but the win I really want to share is that Alex invited me for tea over the weekend, okay, with another friend of his, and we basically detail out the idea behind, the kind of the bartering idea. And it's now, I don't know if I share with you this last Thursday, but the idea came that we don't have to do proper barter. We can start with personal scale time bartering. Yeah. Okay, all right. So we basically flesh out the idea, and and I think the insight is that it's not only doable. Okay, in fact, Alex is already making a spec design document to be outsourced, maybe to some remote development team to build a prototype site system in 2 weeks. Okay, so that will go along with the JPerU training. Hopefully by the end of 2 weeks, we will have not just the training undergoing through that, but also a prototype for open wealth. Obviously, it will not involve any blockchain, okay? Granted, but it will be something very simple, like list your professional scale, like what's the scale set, how many units you're selling it, at what price, right? And if someone else would like to buy that, you can just exchange your professional credits, so to speak. And in fact, there's already a professional credit too that could be exchangeable, which is the owner of the tea house. They're actually 3rd generation. Okay, they want to build a Taiwanese brand to build their tea. It's right now just like a local tea shop. But he's aspired to build a brand in Taiwan and also go international at some point. Okay, so this 3rd generation young guy in his 30-ish, but he doesn't know how. Okay, so probably some consulting could be, like how to create brand, that kind of consultation. I happen to work with such a guy in my online course. He's my partner, Nick, and kind of I mean, he's doing the one-to-one coaching for the Chinese AMP version. You know, we have been collaborating on Mastermind for over a year, and so they're already introduced. So one potential thing is for Nick to exchange his expertise on brand build with maybe some T's from this guy, T credits. Nick can either use the T himself or can send it to his clients, or he can just keep it for later exchange. You see, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's already a bartering scenario based on people's, different skill set and their expertise and their unique abilities. Okay, and this thing, if everything goes smooth, it could be prototyping in 2 weeks. Okay, so
good.
and you can imagine Wealth will fit into this to be the tokenized blockchain backbone to issue NFT credits. Okay, and also, at a later stage, even provide for the startup team's funding and funding allocation, right? So that would be very specific use cases that, Wealth, JCF, we can really like tailor-made and customize towards serving this audience. And I think there is a real need and demand for this, right? In terms of potential funders wanting access to the best materials and coaching, but lacking the know-how, the knowledge, the experience, or the peer group, right? So this is the whole Ascender idea. And I guess what I'm seeing is this can really be the umbrella that brings everything I'm doing now, in terms of JCF and coaching, and even immunology in terms of system building, right? At some point, if they get funded, they will want to build some systems, right? And we do have a software arm. Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember, I mean, okay, can I respond?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's related to the post you made to the JCF, which is great. I mean, it's fantastic. I think you're doing an awful lot of work.
About the 1,000-year company. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
on Slack?
that post. I responded to it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was like a quick thing, and that's another win, but
yeah. No, that's brilliant. Okay, so look, I mean, the enthusiasm is very contagious, and the what you're achieving is great. I think the what makes me smile is when I think about this. Do you remember last time I said about quick starts, and I gave you an analogy of two gunmen in a cowboy film, right? Do you remember that analogy?
Okay.
Do you remember the analogy?
Remind me. No, I don't.
Okay. In terms of quick starts, we're both like two gunmen, right? And I'll pull out my gun and I'll aim it a bit and fire, right? And I'll get on target. You, on the other hand, you at the same point, you'll pull out your gun and fire. You'll run forwards so fast, you'll then pick up a target and stick it in front of the bullet so that it hits, right? So it's like, and we're only a difference of one, right? So because you're an 8, I'm a 7, and I think that it's quite amusing, really. So, and just as he was talking, then I was thinking, okay, so I have a feeling, because of comments that I've made before and things that you've said, I have a feeling that perhaps some people that worked with you have been challenged with kind of like might have accused you of being a shiny penny kind of guy.
Right. Okay.
Are you there?
Right.
Oh, yeah, you're still there. And I don't necessarily think that that's true, but what I do think sometimes, and listening to you then, I kind of had this image of. Are you familiar with cowboy films? Westerns?
Not really, but yeah, I've seen some, but no.
Okay, so in every good cowboy film, there's always a bit where there's a stagecoach, and it's got like 8 horses in front of it, and somehow the stagecoach has the driver's gone, I don't know, been shot or been knocked out, so the hero has to run to the front and jump into the horses because they're galloping away like this, right?
Right.
And try and bring the horses under control so that they can carry on with the journey, right? And so when you were talking, sometimes I feel like I'm the guy who's jumped into the middle of the horses and I'm just trying to go, whoa!
Okay.
No, I don't mean that in a. I don't mean that in a dismissive way or anything like that. I just mean it's just those are the mental images, because I'm just sitting there getting a little bit freaked out by, bloody hell. Well, where does that take us then? What does that do? How does that impact on what we're already doing? What does that mean for Shunyun and his attention and his capacity, and Michael for his, and what does that mean in terms of if Shunyun's creating relationships with other people, what are their expectations? What do they want? And is the business relationship that's growing in that, from planted in that seed, what impact does that have on the business relationship that we have? And all of these kind of things. And I think I've said that in all variations of this in the past anyway. So I am not in the least bit at all I don't know, concerned. I'm just thinking the thoughts. And so I'm just being honest about and transparent about the thoughts I'm thinking, but I don't have those as concerns. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense. I think this is a very genuine, and thanks for sharing. Okay. I think the fact that you're sharing this instead of, as opposed to keeping this in your mind and wondering, I consider that already a win. Okay. In terms of both the, I guess, the collaboration and also the transparency. And I appreciate you for sharing this. Okay. I guess what I like to saying feedback is that one of the I think the Clifton strength, the Clifton strength evaluation identify. I have two like top talents or strength. One is, the first is called basically vision. Okay, kind of like I'm a vision guy. Okay, then the second is being strategic. Okay, so part of the feedback was that sometimes I jump too fast, and I already describing the end. I don't really. I might want to like lay out a step-by-step process that leads to the conclusion of, because I might just present people with the conclusion and result, and there could be a gap between what's being presented versus what's happening right now. Okay, so I do recognize and realize that's something I can also share with you this in the past formal cell. In fact, that actually was, I was feeling kind of a bit sad and down on Friday, kind of in a gap mode, because, Stephen Young, Dr. Stephen Young, he actually pulled out from the Ascender collaboration so far, for the time being. Yeah, because I guess he's also like 10 years, well, he's in his 50s, so probably the same age as you. But but I think he has the same concern that you just described, of jumping too fast. And he felt that, like we're not prepared. We aren't yet prepared well enough to present this to the public, and he considered, for example, the webinar I presented last week as a quote unquote failure, right? And like not really anybody externally turned out except my friend Alex. And only we have Alex on board, right? But but he also acknowledged that my approach. So basically, the split is due to the difference in terms of approach, I guess. Like we all want the same result, which is impact accelerator. Like we both see that as valuable and helpful for the Taiwanese ecosystem. However, we might identify, like stronger to different approaches. Like he has his thinking and approach, and I do have some ideas about how I like Ascender to work, right? And being fully remote. So right now that has so far happened. So I was actually a bit, down. Okay, but the thing is, I kind of recover fully the next day, and and actually excited about it. Reason being, like this is something I learned last year in some of my gap periods or moments when I have like massive loss in financially or relationship wise, which is every time you have a loss, that means you are now open. You have open space now for new stuff, right? So that could potentially mean better, stronger partnerships, okay, or collaborations, or things. So what I did instead is I revised the concept, the impact filters. I sent it to some groups, actually including our JCF advisory, looking for new funding partners, because that would be what Dr. Yang would have acted, in that capacity. It's not to say that we will not collaborate, maybe sometime down the future, but I guess he's expecting something more mature and presentable before he's willing to put his name and his company's brand to it, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're like set stage, so it makes sense. I fully get that, but the thing is, I do feel that we are progressing, okay, and it's not like we're getting stuck. We are actually progressing, although a bit fast. I don't know, according to maybe some standards, but I guess this is, again, if it's progressing, then towards a direction, and there is I think a direction there. So yeah, right now
I think that's it's interesting because there is getting things right, whatever right is, getting things right requires a certain blend of character.
Right.
Or characteristics. And okay. I think, whatever it was that Jobs and Wozniak had was special. And, the iteration that is Apple now is not the same. I mean, it never will be now that Jobs has gone, but, likewise with Gates and Pullman or whatever the guys were from Google. It's like, it takes a blend. Hewlett Packard, they're a good,
the HM, right? Okay.
Sorry?
The HMP in Hewlett Packard, and also Google's two guys, Sergey Brin, and the two Google guys.
Yeah.
Brin, yeah.
Whoever. So
Larry Page.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Page and Brin. So there you go. Getting the balance of characters or character right to be a success is a genuinely, it's a tough thing. So I just think that's interesting, actually. Look, I pulled this out because
oh, okay. Oh, futuristic. Okay. Wow. Actually, your first one is the same as mine. Yes, that's my first one as well. Futuristic. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Nice. Okay.
So that's I found that really interesting. Connectedness and what that meant is about relationship building, communication, and then activator. Yeah, I like that, and then belief as well. So it's interesting that the whole kind of what that analysis did, but that comes out. That's in this document in the unique abilities thing. So anyway, I need to get that to the way. Right. Okay. Fine. Well, look. So what's yeah. How do you want to move forward?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I think we do have 3 hacks to discuss.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things I want to clarify, and also I'd like to know, is there anything you'd like to discuss, I guess, or to clarify for today?
Yeah, I think I had an action to come up with some sort of idea about how we're going to work with other people, and what's that to be. So and also I've started the El Salvador thing.
Right.
But that's going to take a lot more work, and I've only just basically put down a brief skeleton. Joy's
Okay.
got it, Nick's got it, you've got it.
Okay.
We have to start contributing.
Okay.
And I think for people to take it seriously, then we've got to start moving forward.
Okay. Oh,
Joy's
there's
asked me
one
about.
I'd like to share with you. Would that be all right?
Mm.
Because this is related. Is that I actually because when I was discussing with Joy, she mentioned about, oh, there's an update from Joy. She actually got a position with a major US marketing agency, okay, called Scorpion. Okay, something like so. So right now, you know, she's probably more stable, secure, I guess, in terms of financially, and also she does have the time. And also before that, she was saying that her expertise was actually in terms of online marketing for digital products. Okay, particularly like coaching or courses products. So I was saying to her, you know, I do have some course, okay, and I've been thinking about international market. So this is another thing. Is that the whole Ascender course that I'll be, you know, putting is English based. So I've asked her to help to do the marketing. Okay, and she's a great.
She's great.
So yeah, she has. So basically, and it's on a purely revenue share model. Okay, so like she would have like 15% of whatever, you know, revenue we're able to generate of the course. So the idea is to launch a course in 2 weeks. Okay, that will basically utilizing the YC materials plus the you know, and basically, okay, launch a course. Okay, so I'm sharing that is something I'm for at the moment. Okay, so I guess the positive thing is this will get us work with Joy a bit more closer, okay, in terms of the, I guess or at least, you know, get some ideas about what she's like in terms of, I guess, work mode, things like that. Okay, that will probably help us to better position with the JCF work as well. Okay, so yeah, so that's something to share.
Okay. Funding, Joy. What was the other thing that you said? Coaching. So, Joy, she did come back to me and she said something to the effect of, "What documents do we have for, you know, a slide deck and da 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 da." She came back and asked some interesting questions. So, I gave her access to the slide decks and probably that's it actually.
Okay.
Which is like, this is where we're at this is where we're at the moment. Coaching, if it's in English and you're doing some form of entrepreneurial coaching course, how many coaches do you have?
Oh, just one at the moment.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because you know, I know a guy who's been running his own business for like 12 years and is pretty kind of clued in with mindset and all sorts of coaching stuff as well. So you know, you might want to ask him, but because he might be interested in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, him.
Oh, okay. All right, that's great. So, you think this is something you'll be interested?
Well, Shin-Yun, you know I can talk, right?
But coaching is not. Coaching may be more to talk.
To listen. I know to listen. But I think the point is I've got experience, right? And you know that you know my level of thinking. So I'll leave that with you, right? I'm not gonna pursue that. If you think there's a genuine positive kind of response there, then that's fine.
Let me check the. Okay, so that would be like 6 a.m. in Taiwan. What time would that be in UK? That's like or we're 7 right now. It's now it's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. your time zone, right?
Yeah, it's
10. Okay, so 7 hours difference. That will be something like, because the weekly coaching mastermind I'm thinking is Taiwan's 6:30 to 7:30. That will be in your time zone, like midnight, 11:30 p.m. to midnight you know? Okay, so
Yeah, that's
I mean,
possibly a non-starter. Okay.
right. So, but if you're interested, I mean, but just, I'm curious, but also like to know your thoughts. Are you interested to join, I guess, into this, like doing joint coaching? Since you're mentioning,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I'm
maybe we can,
interested. I'm interested, and I think the
oh,
time difference is significant. But
it's big.
nevertheless,
Yeah. No, we can switch to the time like this. This time will be okay for you, right? Right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. I will think about because right now I'm working at a dual time zone. You know that, right? Meaning that basically anything that if it's on my schedule on a regular basis, it has to work both for Taiwan and Canada. Okay, so right now they're like either early morning in Taiwan or like 4 p.m. for me. Okay, but I'll think about this. I appreciate your offer, your suggestion. Okay, actually, I think that might make everything a lot more interesting.
cool.
Because we will be working at, you know, like different levels and different areas, right? But I think that actually is better in a sense because it's actually two separate business. If you think about this, what we're doing, I guess, for JCF, but also, I guess, right now the entrepreneur coaching part. However, they are combined together into something greater. Meaning, I mean, the idea for Ascender is incubate 1,000 founders that can do unicorn level companies, social unicorns in 20 years by 2040. I don't know if I've shared that with you before, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
No, I've
like
read that. I saw that. Yeah,
right. So I mean, this is a lot of, I think, integration in terms of skills, thinking, philosophy, right? And I consider you probably right now the best person right now who like understand what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. Okay. Simply because we have gone through the same kind of training and learning, you know, from Dan and also coach. Okay. But this is exactly what Dan Sullivan is describing in his Free Zone Frontier concept, you know, like you leverage each person's unique ability. And
yeah,
once you are, you know, your unique abilities are very strongly, sharply, you know, refined, you know, you can combine and collaborate very quickly and effortlessly. And this is why Dan envisioned his 15 billion, you know, collective revenue from the clients will grow to 15 trillion in about 20 years. And I personally think that's entirely possible because the way that he's sort of structuring and providing the people this kind of mindset and thinking, right? It
yeah,
makes collaboration easy, effortless, and very productive on everybody's ends. So, you know, like if we can collaborate on not just JCF, but also the coaching part, I do think, you know, like instinctive, it's actually going to have a multiplying effect of what we will be able to create, like collectively. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I genuinely, yeah. I mean, it does. Yeah, yeah. So that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll think about how this. All right. All right. So go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing is funding. So I sent you a slide deck from an outfit called I've forgotten the name now. Blimey, I've forgotten the name of
Okay.
them. Anyway, doesn't matter. You know
Okay.
how at the very beginning last year we met up with that startup team and they said $400 a month or $500 a month and you can join ours. Then we've got 200 people. Da 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 da. These guys, right? And that wasn't a bad idea. And to be honest with you, I don't know why we didn't do anything with them after, because I know why we decided not to do anything with them at the beginning. We thought we would try other options, but I don't know why we didn't circle back and start using them later on. Because basically, I think from my perspective, I forgot about them.
Okay.
These guys that I had a conversation with last week are they're essentially the same thing. only they have
Okay.
around about 100,000 in their database, right?
In their network.
And these are
Okay.
family offices, venture
Oh.
capitalists,
Okay.
high net worth individuals who invest, right? So they're
Fantastic.
all the criteria. There's all the type of people,
Right.
and they charge $100 a month.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah.
So I'm sensing
Plus-
economic of scale. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it cheaper, it's you've got a bigger audience, but they have a mechanism for credits, and the credits cost more money, and I don't quite understand exactly how this works.
Okay.
But even so, you're not talking about, you know, you might spend 500 in a quarter on credits and still pay you 100 a month, but you wouldn't necessarily use all your credits up in one day. I don't, you know, there's a little bit of kind of clarity
Let me share
needed there.
I'll share my guess with you. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
They want stable revenue, so they ask you to purchase credits. Okay, that could be their income. Okay, but then you can store them. It's exactly the idea where Open Wealth is currently exploring. Okay, you can tokenize your capabilities into credits that can be used at a later time. So I think that's what they're doing. I don't know, that's just my guess from what you're describing, but it makes sense from a business perspective. Yeah.
So they do two basic options. One, you get access to a platform. The platform is basically, it's a menu tree down here, and it's like email and stuff, and you kind of piece together, well, I want these types of criterias, and then it does a search. You can also go into Sales Navigator and LinkedIn, pull in a huge amount of data, or buy a list. Even if you had a list, you could dump your own list into there of 1,000 or however many profiled individuals for investment, and start this whole process and use their platform. And one of the things that their platform does, and this is where the credits come in, is it double checks that the email is a valid email for that person. So that's part of the process. Then it's got all of its kind of data compliance, blah blah blah, and you send out messages to these guys, and then they say that if you do the right profiling, then the person getting the email is actually he's more, you know, it's more of a spear phishing campaign. They're targeted, right, as opposed to being just some blanket email, right? So, and I just sat and I thought, bloody hell, for the cost of, you know, a few $100s, it's highly likely that we'll be put in front of, you know, maybe 100 individuals who are of the right profile to look at us. So from a funding perspective, even if we did a minimum commitment of, let's say, I don't know, $10,000, $50,000, right? That's very low key, right? But it also means that the entry level is very, you know, easy for some investors, right? We could generate, you know, you'd only need 10 of them, and you'd got yourself $1 million or so, isn't it? So it's not like well, no, it'd be 100,000. But you know, you would then also have people who are willing to invest a lot more. But I guess that's the thing. It's like raising $1 million to two.
Yes, thanks for sharing. I want to feedback two things that I hope you will get excited about. Okay.
You've already done it.
I'm excited upon hearing what you just described. I'll share why I'm excited. I have actually restarted taking Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels training course since March. It's been a month now. I do a little bit of learning, and I record like a few minutes video sharing what I learned. So I'm kind of revisiting. Russell is launching his ClickFunnels 2.0 with that campaign in March. Okay, so this is a new platform that essentially is not just a funnel builder, but also an email maintainer, you know, and sort of kind of a CRM system. Okay, it's everything combined to one. Okay, and basically I've asked Joy to create this the new course campaign using ClickFunnels 2.0. Okay, which, you know, my idea night, the the coaching company will purchase and will, allow her to use. What you have described is the ideal scenario for a funnel marketing campaign. Okay, a list of a lot of potential prospect, the ability to send something to them with a hook, story, and offer. Okay, and allow them to go through some kind of funnel process. Okay, so what I'm clicking is if Joy is the expert, as she described, with online marketing, and she's used ClickFunnels before, like a couple of years ago. And she's basically a digital marketer with a copywriting skill, which, by the way, is one of the core essential, like one of the most valuable skills for digital marketing is a copywriter. Okay, so what I'm clicking is that we might just involve Joy to run this campaign for this list of investors, okay, using a funnel approach. And I'm pretty sure I don't know exactly. I cannot claim that nobody's using this. Obviously, people probably will use, but for startups utilizing funnels on investors, that is something I think could be relatively rare. Okay. Reason being, funnels has been used predominantly for retail, like individuals. Okay. And typically people think of investor relation as something we have to visit face-to-face, be relation and all that, right? Well, that used to be the case for a lot of things we now sell and buy online, right? People used to think you have to have a face-to-face relation to sell. What Russell and funnel marketing has proved is that that's not necessary. You can do group selling. Russell said something, like that really made an impression on me, like years ago when I just started. He said that one-to-one selling, I may not be the best, but one-to-many selling, like I'm the best in the world. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is when you have a list like that, basically you can launch a funnel marketing campaign to the list. Okay.
Their platform is a CRM though. It is designed that it's a piece of software that you keep. If you bring your data in, then it's your data, but you utilize their platform to channel it, right? And then if you use their data, then it's going to have to stay inside the platform, right?
Right.
So I don't know how that would actually how you would actually do that, but the point is it's a CRM platform with a database and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Good. Okay. How funnel marketing works is that you can purchase ads or other people's lists. In this case, this is their list. What you want to do is to bring their list to your long list to become your list. Okay, by basically creating what's called hook story offer for the audience. So they can send their email to you in exchange for something valuable, useful for them. Okay, so that is something we want to figure out, like what would be the minimum hook story offer for this investor audience. But we can probably figure something out, okay? Or someone, okay, but currently I think Joy might be the best candidate, okay, as the who to help with the funnel campaign to the investors. Again, leveraging who, not how. So it's not we doing the work or we executing the how, but allowing an expert to do this for us, okay, for the team, all right? So that's the first feedback. The second feedback is there is a powerful concept in funnel marketing called offer. People typically sell one product, but what makes, something that's very strong is Russell and all these, they ask you to create an offer, which is a combination of things, okay, that is of value to the audience, to the client, okay? So it's not just saying selling car plus maintenance, plus car wash, plus whatever, plus insurance, right? And into a package, right? And the value and cost ratio is very high. What we can do now, how does that apply to JCF? JCF has multiple things I think we can sell, okay, or in terms of bundle into an offer. because right now we don't just have JCF, we have JCF Wealth, okay, we have JCF Main Fund, we also have, you know, I guess the Ascender Accelerator, and also, I guess, but I guess what I'm saying is there is a possibility that to the audience. So we have to think about what the audience, the investor really wants, right? And I believe investor, they all know the risk of investment, particularly into startups, okay? It's a, you know, it's a game where if you can have even like a few percentage wins, then you win, right? It's a long tail game. What that means is they fully understand the idea of a portfolio, okay? If we can offer them, when you invest to us, you are not just invest to one company, one project, one idea, one team. You are investing into a potential portfolio of companies that all have different potentials to become highly successful, okay? Then I think that's something entirely different, you see? Because wealth has the potential to be the fundraising platforms to power startups.
Yeah.
The sender has the potential to start remote incubation, acceleration for teams globally, breaking geographic and funding barriers for would-be entrepreneurs. Does that make sense? I like to share the value, right? Okay.
It does, and you're already, you know, leaping ahead, right? Because you've got your end game in play, right? So, and I think that translating that into a less visionary, so the balance there is to have the right vision, to understand the future concept, to know where the direction is, but at the same token, be able to accommodate for people who aren't necessarily there.
Right.
And I think if we're talking, and this is why I bring it back to why I believe getting JCF Main 100% as far as the outside, as far as the outside world is considered, 80% in reality for what we believe, right?
Right. Okay.
So, and I don't think we're at that stage where we've got an 80% internal with 100% gloss finish. Does that make sense?
Agreed.
And I think that I think our first to do that, I believe that if we were to raise, you know, $1 million for just JCF on its own, then I think that would be key, because we could leapfrog a lot of things then. You know.
Okay.
And also, you know, here's the other thing, right? If the other thing that I think it's fair to consider is that look, if we're prepared to pay somebody like Ian or the other guy or whoever like 6 to 12% finder's fee,
right,
then I think we should actually be willing to you know, see that in any funds that we generate, right? Well, not necessarily the same amount, but certainly see more than just you know, certainly see some form of recognition, because it's going to be the you know, it's going to be powerful for us to keep moving forward as well. So, but I mean, that's another thing. But anyway, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. But I think if we're able to generate that first hurdle, or not first hurdle, first challenge, or not even that, but you know, first waypoint, right? Then validating that futuristic vision is going to be a lot easier, because we can go, right, well, we said that JCF Main would be the first milestone, right? Here's the roadmap, right?
Right.
Future vision is up here, right? And then this is our roadmap down to where we are today, right? So you've invested in us with your 10,000, and you've got one thing, but now that trips you onto all these other waypoints along the journey, and I think that we have to, you know, be clear on it. But again, I don't deny, and I'm sorry if I'm holding you back. And again, if we use the analogy of the horses, right? You know, we need the 8 stallions to take us forwards into the on the journey, but we also need to be able to do it so they're not running all over the place, right? I forgive me if that's an inappropriate analogy, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I think the clarity of what you're saying, I get it because you and I have had the same training to a degree, right? We've come up from different directions, and broadly speaking, we've got similar but not the same kind of mental constructs, right? But you and I aren't normal. Right? We're not. No, we're not. And I say normal. If you look at the classic Bell distribution, right? We're not plumb in the middle, are we? Right? We're not upper percent. I mean, sorry, we're not early majority. We're not late majority. Okay, for some things, for being futuristic and all right, we're early adopters, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
And early adopters take risks, and early adopters pay a bit more for a new bit of tech. Early adopters do things differently because they're pulling the rest of the society along.
Right. Forward.
And so I get what you're saying.
Okay.
And I'm trying to translate that into a language that I think will be easier to pull people with us.
Okay. Mike, thanks for sharing that feedback. I fully agree. I also think what we want to do moving forward is to, like you said, get JCF funding. However, I'd like to invite you to consider the process of bringing JCF. In fact, JCF is already part of the sender process. You see what I'm saying? By me involving in DraperU, okay? So I guess what I like to share is that we will build JCF with multiple benefits. JCF as a social enterprise, but also JCF as part of the ascender process. What that means is that we will get coached by, for example, DraperU, which is happening in these next 2 weeks. We will be coached by YC's materials and masterminds that, let's say we're offering at the same time. And what happens is at the end of that, we will be funded. Okay, because we have improved the product, the MVP, the mindset, the team, the domain a lot better than when we started, and also have access to investor network. We have, we're better at pitching, we're better at product building, we're better at team building, better at collaborations. We will get funded. And at that time, we will have data point to show the ascender process works. Okay, and I guess I like to share this vision with you, and also just something to keep in mind is that I'm seeing ascender as potentially be, at the position of role as what Ian has played. You see, I mean that the whole acceleration process. So the core tenets for ascender are remote, coached, and funded. Okay, I believe these are going to be like pretty powerful, like forces. Like each one on its own is something powerful. Do you see what I'm saying? Because traditionally, like even now, YC and Draper, they think that you have to be incubated and coached, right? On site, you have to be together. You have to bunch together. You have to like live and work and together, like closely, in order to have anything significant come out. Okay, that is the current mentality and belief by the VC, by the accelerator community, by the people who are doing it right now. They are exploring remote as kind of a tangent. Okay, this is actually the feedback I got from Draper, that they feel that remote doesn't have as good an effect. So they're focusing on their on-site program. Remote is kind of like a low-layer funnel for them, to try to seek teams that they can bring to San Francisco to be on-site and coached. However, I know better, And reason being, I have living in the remote world in the last decade plus, pre-COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the power of being remote, you know. Okay. The fact I have my current lifestyle is a living example of the power of remote. The fact we're collaborating, and not just superficially, you see, like at the deep level. And part of that, this is the second piece, coaching, coach. Okay. The accelerators, they don't have the kind of Dr. Ben, you know, Ben Hardy, Dan Sullivan style coaching mentality. Okay. They don't have that kind of thing. I know, because I have learned their stuff before as well. So if we are providing coaching alongside with Silicon Valley kind of, you know, the know-how, the knowledge, those are two powerful forces. Now, the third thing is what Ian has demonstrated. If you have a large investor database network where they actually trust you, you can provide funding relatively easily by just saying, this is a good team. I have checked them out. I've done due diligence, right? Go and pick the ones you like. That's what Ian does. You see? It's what a, you know, remote impact accelerators such as Sender can do and should do. And in fact, we can probably do this a lot more effectively than what Ian can do. Do you see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm on page. I definitely can. I get it. And I agree with what you're saying. And being a, you know, if I didn't, then I wouldn't be here, would I? I wouldn't be investing my time and effort and all the rest of it. So, you know,
right. Okay.
I guess what I'm getting hung up on is just thinking about what's practically the next step. Shunyun, I'm inherently quite a lazy guy, actually, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mask that by working hard, right? But I would much rather have who's, not hows. The only reason I don't have a staff of 1,000 people working for me is because I haven't been able to fund them. If I had £1 million in my pocket, I would certainly pay to have staff in place and staff to manage those staff and teams to manage the managers. Right? I would have a hierarchy. But I don't have the funding to do that. Therefore, I can't. Therefore, I have to wait until I've made significant amount of money, or I've made a model that I'm confident will work if I just apply some more money. In which case, I just have to get investment. And whilst I'm confident in myself, I'm not confident in the model that I've made within Income Sec. But I am confident in the model that I've made with property, right? So I know it works, and I know I can do it. And I guess coming back to you and what you're saying, I'm just sitting there thinking, well, all right, how do we get it from stage 1, which is at the floor, to stage 2, which is funded, so we can get who's in there to replicate what we do and make it exponentially better?
That's an excellent question, Mike. I'd like to share something with you. I hope that will get you excited.
Here we go. 4 horses.
Sorry, I'm doing the pitching. I feel like I'm pitching to you.
Well, I think we're just having a good conversation, but at the same token.
Do you still have time though? I mean, we know
well, look,
time.
Here's the thing. I've got to drive to London today because I've got coach tomorrow. Ironically, speaking of being in physical places, I've got to be in. I'm traveling down to London. I'm meeting up with somebody. So I could break. I do want to show you something before we finish. So maybe give me like 5 minutes at the end. I think if we went on for another 15 minutes, then that would be fine with me.
Okay, I'll make my pitch in 5 minutes or less.
Assuming your internet works.
Hello?
Ah, you're back. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello,
I can hear you
Mike?
fine now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you
All
now.
right.
Yes.
Apologies. Network broke. Probably give it. I'll make my pitch in 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So, lack of money, funding. I kind of figure out how to resolve that. That's what we think money is the key driver. However, if there's something called bartering, then money is not necessary. Okay, so basically, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, I know you
Okay.
are. That's just the thing. Yes, I get it. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
No, I'm serious. Why do we want money? Why do we want money? It's because we want to purchase professional time from experts. Can you hear me? I think the network is still breaking.
You're
okay?
breaking up badly.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now maybe it's the network. Is it better now?
It's a bit better now. Yeah.
Is it better now, or still not? Okay,
What
okay,
happens,
all right.
Shinyan, is that
So,
your sentences stop, and then
okay.
you carry on. So that it's
Oh,
not that your sound is garbled; it's just that there's breaks of a second or so in between what you're saying. Does that make sense?
all right. Yes, yes. So is it better now, though?
Yeah. Yeah. It's better now.
All right, all right. Okay. So the key is, well, right now I think it's already happening in a sense between how I work with Alex and Joy. Okay, I'm not really paying them, but we're working together on something. Obviously, this is a kind of collaboration, right? Now, think about if professional skills can be somehow tokenized and stored and exchanged. Professional times, okay? This actually relates to also about the team structure and company thing that I wanted to talk with you about. Okay, but maybe but I guess what I'm essentially I had the idea that we might want to enlarge the organization and pay people through tokens. Okay, and there could be two types of tokens. One is exchangeable with fiat currency. The other is simply, storable. Okay, but enough with that. Well, two ideas. The first is scales, if tokenized, store and traded. We could use our own professional skills to trade for other professional skill set. And this is unique ability collaboration. This is what the open wealth platform potentially will do. Okay, so if we can get that up and running, like quickly, and then we can just start piloting among, I guess, friends we're working with. Okay, and to have it spread, hopefully virally somehow. Okay, so that's the first idea. Once I realized money is really just to buy the times, professional times. But in the past, because there's no blockchain, there's no tokens that's easily creatable, people can rely only on government issued fiat currency. And that is why we have placed such a value on money. Okay, because people equate money with literally everything of value. However, if you really think about what value really is, okay, and how economies really work, it's not about money. It's about people appreciating each other's service, right? Your expertise and willing to exchange. So I guess what I'm seeing is the whole idea of tokenizing people's time scale, right, and do bartering, this potentially can replace currency for good if there is a effective bartering mechanism. In other words, you don't have to have money to get your idea started and running and find collaborations.
Do you know?
Right. I'm done with the pitch. Okay.
Okay, fine. This is a much longer conversation because it's for me, it's a concept. It's not a pitch.
Okay.
There is no outcome. Yeah, okay. One of the key words that you used was hope. Hopefully,
Okay.
there's a lot of ifs, right?
Okay.
And therefore, it's not a case of I have this, I need this, the transaction will be this. This is what you'll get in return.
Okay.
There's a lot of substance, and the replacement of fiat with some form of credit that where appreciation is valued in whatever way you want to value it, it's a long way off for it to be real. And by that, if you look at all of these guys who are in blockchain or crypto now that all claim to be, I don't care about, I'm working towards the metaverse. I want to, get rid of fiat. Fiat's bad, boo-hoo. All these guys who are really self-righteous about it, they've all got dollar accounts. They all get paid in dollars, right? What does Ian want? 3 Ethereum and 12%. 12% of what he raises $1 million. He wants 12%.
Right.
So all of this, fundamentally, for all of these people, I'm not saying this about you, but for all of these people who are out there in the metaverse, it's all bullshit, because ultimately what they want is something that they know they can utilize for paying the rent, paying the mortgage, buying the food, and all the rest of it.
Right.
It does require a dollar, right? So in context of, my question was going to be, do you know what Joy wants in return for her time? Do you know what Alex wants in return for his time? Andrew has made it quite clear what he wants in return of his time. For him to consider moving from Bradshaw or wherever it's called, Brampton, to a full-time position, he wants $200,000 plus.
Exactly.
He wants to have some form of ownership.
Right.
I don't think it works quite like that. You either take the 200,000 or you take the ownership. You don't get both. You only get both once you've worked at it for a number of years, where you've created the value to warrant being paid 200,000. Right. So there's my point here is that whilst you're telling me about that early adopter attitude, that visionary concept, I agree with you. Yes. Today, though, in the marketplace that we're in, we need to understand what does that equate to in a dollar value. And if you were to sit there and say to me, Mike, we can trade, instead of paying dollars for time, we can give tokens for time. The only reality for that person is whether or not they can translate that token into a dollar amount that they can value. Now, it might be that both Joy and Alex are going, well, I'll get X percentage of a future, and that I'm betting on the future of it being successful, and therefore that's why I'm getting involved with it. But that's ultimately why your guys that were with you at the beginning of JCF have dissipated, because they thought it was a great idea at the beginning, but they haven't seen any dollar value return. Therefore, they're not interested anymore because they're not getting a return on investment.
Right. That's right.
And so it's not that's why I say this is not a pitch. It's a conversation. And whilst you've done it within a couple of minutes, and so what I believe is necessary is for us to be. We need more foundation for us to build this house. Right?
Okay.
I think we've got the architectural plans, but we don't have a foundation. And I think so. If I'm coming back to my point, we need to build something which is a strong foundation, which will enable us to build the structure, which will enable us to build the house, the vision that predominantly you have, one which I share, and I hope add value to. So.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'd like to link that now to the thoughts I was having. It's not I think our conversation now will be one that you and I can to and fro with for a long period of time. And I've taken home the point, how do we structure this so that we can exchange tokens for time, right? How does that work? That's my takeaway, and that's what I'm going to think on, and that's what I'm going to hopefully bring back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's me done. I'm happy. I'd like to now kind of take you along a journey that I was thinking of in a bit of a rambly way, but I hope you're okay with it. I've just got to find the browser where it's open.
Get some water.
Okay. Tell me when you're back.
Really appreciate it. Difference between pitch and concept.
Yeah. Oh, that's wrong. Stop sharing. Don't want to take you there. Why did it go there? That's where I wanted to be. That's really weird. It's taken me. Oh, I know. Sorry, bear with me a second.
Okay, sure. No worries.
Right, tell me what you can see when I do this, please.
All right. I see you are sharing screen.
Yeah, what is it actually showing you?
Not yet. I haven't seen something, but I think it's
just white screen,
probably.
Is it? It's just the white screen?
Right now it says you are sharing your screen, and there is something that's circle that's continuously moving.
Oh, really?
Right.
What about now?
Okay. Yes, I can see it now. Go ahead.
Well, can you see like an oval shape in grey?
Ellipse, yes.
Yeah, right, fine. There we go. That's the proper name for it. All right, look. Okay, what I wanted to say first of all, and I didn't do this as part of the presentation, but I did this diagrammatically. When we first spoke about this, I was thinking about this in terms of words, and I was thinking, how do I frame this in terms of words? And I was finding it difficult because I thought it was going to be quite complicated. If you think about companies and businesses, traditionally, they're built on a hierarchical structure, and they're built from the point of view of, at the top, you have the owner, and then you have executives, management, workers, and then at the end of the day, you've got some customers at the bottom, which support everything, right? So it's a typical pyramid shape. And I sat there and I started thinking, well, hang about, why are we doing this? And I thought, actually, it's the opposite, right? We're not doing it for ourselves, right? We are, but we're not. Okay, there's a bigger purpose here. So I kind of thought, look, we've got retail investors, and we've got UBI recipients. Now, perhaps they're not equally balanced in terms of what we're after, but those are the two principal areas that we're trying to build upon, right? Because the retail investors are going to get a benefit, and then the UBI people are going to get a benefit as well. And then I thought, well, actually, so far we've got, an entity, right? So for argument's sake, we're calling this JCF main, right? And then we've got any number of entities which will support that whole process, right?
Right.
And at the moment, you've got you and me.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
Now that's the model we want. And the point about this model is that this bit here, sorry, the two of us, we at some point we want to structure it so we can remove those two, and it will just be these entities which will be supporting this, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So
I fully agree with you.
So I could only do this as a diagram because I think better in pictures than I do anything else.
Yeah.
But it was this is by making this the first kind of concept, and with the fact that this can move away.
Right.
and I do have an idea on how to make this work. These entities. How do these entities communicate? How do they learn, right, to work within each other together? And so, okay, now I'm going to stop sharing, right?
Okay.
So,
okay.
In the what I've learned all my life and seen in practice as well as in learning, is a little bit of a replication on how you and I talk. You and I believe, and I think I've said this ever since I met you in Canada, are able to have truthful conversations and say what we think, even though it might be difficult to say it and it might be difficult to hear it. We provide it as honest feedback, and each of us knows that the other person is saying it from a position of openness, transparency, and honesty and truthfulness, and therefore there's no antagonism, there's no aggrievement, there's no kind of worry. There might be concerns at times, and I think I'm very vocal about voicing my concerns, but I don't have a worry.
I see. Okay.
So that's called, for me, that's called consultation. Right. If you and I have an idea, whatever the idea is, we take that idea out and we put it on the table. That idea on the table belongs to the table. It no longer belongs to Michael. It no longer belongs to Shun Yun. It is owned by the table, and it's up to Michael and Shun Yun to discover the merits of that idea and whether or not it can continue or needs amendment or development, iteration or removal. Right.
That's the Baha'i approach, as you described to me earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Sorry, I've forgotten I'd already done that. Right. Fine. So
that's all. Yeah. So I mean the round table and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, I think that if we can find a way in which we develop that as the culture of the organization, then at some point, this is what I think people in the metaverse mean when they talk about consensus. This is what people are genuinely trying to achieve, although they don't really understand how to do it, because they're still kind of cultivated by this benign dictator kind of concept. And if I look at the Coco, it's an autocratic organization. It is nothing to do with the metaverse. It is a hypocrisy. And so I think a lot of these crypto elements are hypocrisies in that respect. Or out and out fraudulent entities. So I think that if we're able to develop this as part of the culture, then it's about it becomes not a matter of co-founder, but it becomes how does somebody become part of for want of a better term, council, right?
Yeah.
Like a consultant in the context of us, a consultant counselor or something like that. I don't know. Sounds a bit wishy-washy, but maybe there's a better term.
DAO. That's a DAO. Centralized autonomous organization. I think that's where we're moving. And and also, there's someone who's already piloted and has it working, and this person is super wealthy and successful. I don't know if you know who I'm referring to, but you definitely will know the person. Bridgewater. Ray Dalio. Yes. Ray Dalio, he puts his ideas, he encourages people to attack his idea without fear of being, retro. Build a system that encourage this kind of idea, where idea belongs to idea and for discussions. And he actually make it a system. Yeah, so anyway, quick feedback. There are people who are thinking this direction as well. He has co-CEOs, co-CIOs. Okay. So I'm just saying that there are some people who are thinking along this line. Yes.
And okay. It's nice to see him in the traditional context as well, rather than somebody who's waffling on about metaverse. Because again, I find metaverse really irritating when I think about what they're.
Please continue.
Bullshit.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got to go now, by the way. I'm supposed to be driving to London.
Okay, sure. So Mike, thanks for sharing. I fully agree with you. That's actually the kind of organization we want to build. I do have some thoughts on this as well, but I think it would be better for me to organize at least in the blog or in impact filter form, okay, before our next exchange, okay? So I'll make it the blog, okay? I'll make it the blog. And, well, maybe an impact filter first, yeah. And
do the impact
basically,
filter first, because by making it a blog, you kind of make it formalized.
Right. Okay, sure. All right. I'll make an impact filter. All right.
By the way,
So
on Thursday, oh no, Thursday's good. I'll be back home by Thursday. Yeah, so Thursday 9:30 should be good.
okay, oh yeah, one thing. Thursday, I might for this particular Thursday, the Planet Mixer thing, it's going to have its mastermind. Right now, it's called Eco Resilience. Okay. So basically, yeah. So might have to. It's going to continue between 9 and 10 UK time. Oh, so you know, our discussions might have to be after that. Okay, so that will be like 10, I think, UK time.
Yeah, just let me know.
All right?
Yeah, just let me know.
All right. Yeah, and by the way, it's going to be in English. So if you're interested to join, feel free. Okay. All right. So just yeah, just to let you know, yeah, we will have the Li Ren, you know, the organic chain, who's affiliated with Li Ren to present. Yeah. So about the social enterprise, Li Ren, and also the you know how they're yeah. So okay. All right. So have a fantastic trip to UK. Great coach session. Okay, I'm having my next week. So we're going to have some exchange with that, and really appreciate. Okay, yeah, today has been,
thank you, my friend,
very valuable. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, agreed, as ever. All right,
Okay.
dude. One day we might get around to finishing this bloody free hags, right?
Maybe it's already.
Do you know, look, the thing is, we need to just, I think we just need to sit down and it's almost like be locked in a room with nothing but that as a target to have done and just get it done.
Okay.
But anyway.
That's just next. I mean, this Thursday then. Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
Take care. Cheers, then. Bye-bye.
Enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.